I heard my sister-in-law tell the caterer to cut my name from the wedding program, and she didn't know I was standing right behind her with the contract that funded the entire event. She laughed while she said it. Nobody will notice. She's just the accountant in the family anyway. That single sentence told me everything about the 18 months she'd spent planning to erase me. I didn't say a word. I turned around and walked back to my car, because I already knew something she didn't. I hadn't lost control of my brother's company. I had just started proving I still owned half of it. My name is Delia Voss. I'm 36, and for 11 years I ran the finance side of Voss Furniture Group, the company my father built and left to my brother Marcus and me in equal shares. I'm not a face people remember. I'm the woman who balances the books, while someone else gives the speech. That used to be fine with me. Quiet work, steady paycheck, a seat nobody fought me for. But quiet people get overlooked, and overlooked people get robbed, and I stayed too calm for too long, while my own family decided I was the easiest one to cut out. It started small, the way these things always do. 6 months before the wedding, Marcus stopped forwarding me the vendor invoices, said his fiancée Renata was handling the wedding budget separately from the company account. Fine, I thought. Wedding money isn't company money. Then I noticed a $40,000 withdrawal from the Voss Furniture operating account, marked marketing consultation, dated the same week Renata hired her wedding planner. I asked Marcus about it over the phone. He laughed it off. Renata's helping us rebrand. It's an investment. I let it go, because he was my brother, and I'd spent my whole life letting things go for him. Then came the board meeting I wasn't invited to. I found out about it from an email chain forwarded by mistake. 3 days after it happened. They'd voted to bring on a strategic partner, a logistics company called Halloway Freight, and signed a 5-year exclusive contract. My signature was supposed to be on that vote. It wasn't. Someone had used my digital authorization code without asking me. Then there was the family dinner where Renata mentioned, casually, refilling her wine, that once she and Marcus were married, things would finally run more efficiently around here. Marcus didn't correct her. He just smiled at his plate, like a man who'd already agreed to something. Each of these I filed away as irritation, not evidence. That was my mistake. And also, it turned out, my advantage. Because nobody plans carefully around a woman they've already decided is harmless. The twist came on a Tuesday, when my assistant, Priya, quietly handed me a folder she said she wasn't supposed to have. Inside was the real Halloway Freight contract, the one that hadn't been shown to me. Buried in Clause 14 was a provision transferring 30% of company shares to Halloway in exchange for the freight deal, shares that could only legally come from my portion, since Marcus's was already fully vested and protected under our father's trust. My signature was forged on page 9. Not electronically, an actual forged signature, badly traced from an old contract of mine. This wasn't a wedding anymore. This wasn't even about being erased from a program. Someone had built a plan to strip me of a third of what my father left me, using a marriage as cover and a forged signature as the mechanism, and my own brother had let it happen, maybe even asked for it. I sat with that folder for 11 minutes without moving. Then I did the only thing that made sense. I became two people. One kept showing up to family dinners, nodding along about seating charts and floral arrangements. The other one started building a file that would end everything quietly, permanently, and without a single raised voice. I called Nathaniel Reyes first, a corporate attorney my father had trusted for 20 years. He confirmed what I already suspected. Forged signatures on a shareholder transfer weren't just unethical, they were criminal, and the trust documents gave me standing to freeze the whole transaction if I moved before the wedding, when the contract was set to be publicly announced as a gift to the newlyweds. I spent the next 5 weeks collecting proof, bank records showing the $40,000 hadn't gone to a rebrand at all. It had gone to Renata's wedding planner directly. Email metadata proving the board vote had been sent from my account while I was in another state at a supplier conference, with witnesses and a boarding pass to confirm it. A forensic handwriting analyst Nathaniel hired confirmed the signature on page 9 didn't match mine in 14 separate points, and Priya, bless her, had saved a voicemail from Renata asking her to just make sure Delia doesn't check her email that week. I kept smiling at dinner. I kept approving seating charts. Marcus started acting more confident with every week that passed, more careless, too. He mentioned the Holloway deal openly at a family lunch, called it the best thing that's happened to this company in a decade. Renata started introducing herself at events as the future co-owner of Voss Furniture Group. She had no idea the deal was already sitting in a folder with Nathaniel's firm, flagged for injunction. 2 weeks before the wedding, Marcus stood up at a company all-hands meeting, the kind streamed live to every regional office, and announced the Holloway partnership publicly, thanking Renata by name for believing in this company's future and calling it a gift to build our family legacy. He said it with a live microphone, in front of 40 employees, and a recorded feed archived on the company server. He had no idea that recording would become the clearest evidence of intent I could ever ask for. He thought the forged page was buried. It wasn't. Nathaniel had already filed for a temporary injunction that morning, timed to land the day after that speech, so there would be no way to claim it was a misunderstanding. The wedding was at the Halston estate, 200 guests, string quartet, the whole performance. I arrived exactly on time, in the dress I'd already paid for, and I was not on the seating chart. Renata had told the caterer to cut my name from the program that same morning, the moment I overheard behind the catering tent. She thought I'd slip away quietly, the way I always had. Instead, halfway through the reception, right after the toasts, a process server Nathaniel had arranged walked calmly up to the head table and handed Marcus a sealed court order, freezing the Holloway transfer, citing forged shareholder documents. The room went silent in that specific way. 200 people go silent when they sense something real just happened. Marcus opened it at the table, in front of every guest, every camera, every phone already filming for social media. I stood up from the back row, where they'd seated me near the kitchen doors, and I walked to the front, not fast, not dramatic. I stopped a few feet from the head table. "This isn't a family matter anymore," I said, quiet enough that people leaned in to hear it. "It's a forged signature and a stolen third of a company our father built. I have the proof, and so does the court." Marcus's face went white. Renata reached for her champagne glass and didn't drink it. Nobody clapped. Nobody needed to. I didn't stay for the rest of it. I didn't need to watch them explain themselves to 200 guests holding phones. That part happened without me, and it happened badly, because Nathaniel had already sent copies of the injunction and the forensic report to the full board that same evening. The aftermath moved fast once the truth had somewhere real to land. The injunction held. The Holloway deal was voided in full within 3 weeks, and Holloway's own legal team quietly withdrew, rather than be tied to a forgery case. Marcus was removed as majority signatory, pending an internal investigation, a condition our father's trust required automatically, once fraud was confirmed. Renata's wedding planner contract, paid for with company funds, triggered a separate reimbursement demand, and she paid back every dollar within the month. No lawyer willing to defend that particular line item. Marcus called me 11 times in the 2 weeks after the wedding. I answered the 12th, and only to tell him the board wanted a formal accounting meeting, not a family conversation, and that Nathaniel would be present. He didn't argue. There wasn't anything left to argue with. 6 months later, I run daily operations at Voss Furniture Group, not because I fought for the title, but because the trust reassigned it automatically, once Marcus's signing rights were suspended. Marcus still holds his shares. He still shows up to shareholder meetings. But he sits across the table now, not across a forged signature, and he's learned to ask before he moves anything with my name on it. I didn't destroy my brother. I just stopped letting him decide what was mine to lose. And I've realized something I wish I'd understood years earlier. Being the quiet one in the room was never a weakness. It was just the version of me nobody thought to double-check. They should have. If you were in my place, would you have confronted them the moment you overheard it? Or would you have waited, like I did, until the proof could speak for you? Tell me in the comments and subscribe for the next story.